dear sustainability brands, you definitely have to do better. And I would enjoy the cut, I would enjoy the price, I wouldn't all the things finally meet together. Athletic legs, but obviously there is no athleticism, it's just very thick legs. Those guys start ripping apart after 6 months. How I'm supposed to choose you if you're messing it up yourselves? I hate synthetic fleece. If I want something to look cute, to fit my body, I have to probably make it myself. Fast fashion brands that are actually catering to my body. Finally, the pants fit me. Wear medium to large pants, you're not petite. So I have a large area there. So can we please stop doing those small, medium, large? And this is not as big. And can we please separate plus size people into a different group? Impossible for them. Gift to sustainability gods. Greenwashing. Here we go. And me as a consumer, I'm supposed to go do all this research to figure out, are they sketchy? And they don't make it anymore. They make another pair of pants. And now again, I'm on this journey trying. Things don't fit me. Knitting. When I started sewing, I started learning how the items are made. I used to be a yarn snob. I'm only knitting with 100% wool. All these things I probably preached in my head about sustainability don't quite work for people. Oh my God, you're so just complicated. Okay, can we please talk about 2 topics? Topic number 1, dear sustainable brands, you have to do better. And topic number 2, it is actually a journey to figure out budget-friendly clothes, discovering your personal style, because if you want to keep clothes longer, you should have somewhat understanding of your style, because sometimes we buy things because we buy it and it doesn't fit our wardrobe or we don't know how to wear it. And also somehow actually buying things that fit you well. Not just because they're sustainable or long-term, but actually they look nice on you. Also in terms of being comfortable, Let's talk about all these topics: sustainability, personal style, buying clothes, not buying clothes, consumption, overconsumption, influencing, de-influencing, all these things. I personally went, let's say, maybe 10 years ago, not knowing anything about fast fashion, easily buying things from Manga, H&M, all those stores, to the point when I went so far or so deep on my sustainability journey that I even had a channel about sustainability. I was actively researching things, I was learning things, buying things from sustainable fashion. There were even periods of time that when I did all these different experiments with buying less, buying nothing, the capsule wardrobes and stuff like that. So I started venturing into all this sustainability journey. I would buy less clothes so I could allocate more money because sustainable clothes is usually more expensive. I did a little bit of online thrifting. Anyway, that's thrifting. That's another topic. We're not touching it here. I was going into sustainable brands, but I slowly felt a guilt that I would either not be able to find what I actually want to wear or something sustainable but super expensive that doesn't fit me. At some point I realized I just spending way too much money on the sustainable clothes. And also there were some sustainable brands that I would get disappointed with, because some brands, they would be hyped 1 year and then a couple of years later, under the scrutiny, they're part of some scandal. I don't know, they're not doing good to their employees, they're doing some shady things. You're like, okay, dear sustainable brands, can you please do better? How I'm supposed to choose you if you're messing it up yourselves? But besides that, I just realized another slice of, garment construction, that many sustainable brands that I followed in the very beginning, they're not very body friendly, let's call it this way. Before we continue this video, I'm 5 feet tall, which is like 154 centimeters. I don't know how I get presented on the camera, but I have narrow shoulders, so I can easily wear size small, although I don't like size small. My bust is 86 centimeters, and I forgot how much it is in inches because I still think in centimeters, although I live in California and I'm supposed to think of inches, but I'm still not good with them. But I will put everything on the screen. My hips are 100 centimeters. Okay, we have a bird here that's biting something that's supposed to bite. And then my legs are very short, much shorter than my torso. And I'm very short and I have thick, you can say athletic legs, but obviously there is no athleticism. It's just a body structure. I have very thick legs. So all my life I struggled with finding things that fit me because I'm too short. Most brands don't do things for short people. For example, if I buy jeans with that are ripped on the knees, those knees are not where I have my knees. Okay, height doesn't seem like a big issue, but it is. Height plus disproportion of, measurements. The garment construction industry assumes if you are size, small, I don't like those sizes. But anyway, if you have somewhat narrow shoulders, your hips should be narrow too. So let's say if I buy one suit or if I buy a dress, it will fit here, but it will be too tight in my hips. Also, I have a butt that protrudes, so I have a large area there. So I can't buy things that are one piece. I have hard time finding dresses unless they're extremely oversized. Things like pajamas, if they sell it as a one piece, I can never buy it because because either this one will be too big or the lower part will be super tight and uncomfortable. And then this is the story of my life. And I'm sure I hope somebody listens to this video. I'm sure you also have your own struggles. Also, the way how my body is created, if I buy pants that's supposed to be mid-rise, they always low-rise on me or extremely uncomfortable because I need a longer crotch length. Because I have hips, I need more fabric, so if there is not enough fabric. And before, I just struggled. I was like, oh, something is wrong with me. I just can't find clothes. I would be so frustrated. What pisses me off about the fashion industry, because they would create everything for somewhat, regular people. But then they're like, okay, we're going to do plus size. Here's your plus size. Okay, I don't mind wearing something that's labeled plus size because those things usually expect people to have larger hips. But the plus size starts with extra XL. Oh yeah, if you're very big, then we might as a brand create something for you. But if you're 5 feet short, you're petite, go shop in the petite section. The petite stuff doesn't fit me because they assume that petite people have no chest. If you're petite, no way on earth you have hips that are 100 centimeters. So usually now when I buy pants, I buy either medium to large pants. If you want to wear medium to large pants, you're not petite. So I'm like, So basically, I'm not petite, I'm not plus size, I'm not regular. And it's a struggle. On top of that struggle that I had all my life, I also had a sustainability struggle. And for a couple of years, I think I drove myself nuts. The same how people can get orthorexic when they get too obsessed with eating healthy food. I think I got so obsessed with buying sustainable clothes. So I needed to buy things and I would spend literally also, this part is to me being a little bit hyper-focused on things, especially I get too hyper-focused on researching things. I would literally spend weeks. I remember I had to buy a pajama because my pajama pants were too old, they ripped, and I needed a new pajama and I only had 2 sets. I literally spent 2 weeks researching for pajamas that would fit me, they would have natural fibers, they would be sustainable brand, they would actually have a nice design because I also have quirky, you look at me, I have quirky understanding about what stylish, what not. And also due my other part of personality, I get really caught on not liking certain fibers. For example, I don't like fleece, not liking certain color combinations to the point where I get super, I get weirded out if certain color combinations are on me and I'm gonna notice it all day and I'm gonna get super uncomfortable, I'm gonna get frustrated, I'm gonna get tired of it. It's just difficult. I would spend weeks and weeks to find things. And then when I would find something, it would be also expensive. And then I would be like, okay, let me just order it. It's going to be this one piece item that I'm going to keep forever, for ages, because it's sustainable. I'm going to invest in this long-term item. I'm going to order it. It would probably not fit me as I would want it to fit me. But then it's okay. It's just sustainability. I'm here on the altar of sustainability, giving myself as a gift to sustainability gods. But then that item would not last long. I had a couple of, loungewear or underwear that didn't last long. And I'm like, I spent so much money, so much time researching, taking care of it, and it didn't even last long. And I'm like, dear sustainability brands, you definitely have to do better. Also, I remember I needed to buy new shoes and I usually wear Vans. And I was like, okay, let me get into some more sustainable brand than Vans. And I found this brand, I'm not gonna name it here. And I bought shoes that were made from recycled everything. Recycled canvas, recycled rubber, recycled this, recycled that. And the design was actually cute. I was like, I can easily do this brand. It was a little bit more expensive because I usually buy Vans on sale. I don't buy full price. It was slightly more expensive, maybe 40% more expensive. I mean, not slightly, but it was okay. I'm like, let me get it. So while Vans usually last me a couple of years, even on everyday wear, those guys started ripping apart after 6 months. And I'm like, okay, so this is a sustainable brand. This is good to support small sustainable brands. It's all recycled. But my Vans, that may be not very sustainably produced, lasts me years. versus this one 6 months. So who's more sustainable? And I'm like, you know what, dear sustainable brands, you definitely have to do better. Also later on, much later, actually this year, I learned that sometimes when they claim it's recycled polyester, it's not something that's recycled from old clothes. There is a gimmick, greenwashing. Here we go. When they say, oh, this is made out of recycled bottles. So what they do, the companies produce plastic bottles, don't use them for drinks, sell them to the companies who want to do recycled bottles clothes. So basically, now it's even worse. Instead of just producing polyester, now they produce bottles, plastic bottles first, then they redo these bottles into fibers, then they do fibers. And you're like, okay, now we created 3 problems instead of having 1 problem. Okay, so we addressed certain issues that some of the sustainable clothes, especially new brands, they don't last long. Sometimes they go under certain scrutiny and controversy, so you think they're sustainable, but they're not quite there yet. And me as a consumer, I'm supposed to go do all this research to figure out, are they sketchy? Are they greenwashing me, or are they truly sustainable? Also, lots of those brands are expensive, which is, it's okay because the garment should not cost $5. Me as a advanced knitter and very beginner sewist, I can tell you that creating a garment takes time, so they shouldn't be cheap. And also I feel if clothes were expensive in general, we would value it more. We would give it more wear. That's how people did a couple of 100 years ago. Everything was expensive, so people would wear the same dress for years. Lots of sustainable brands may go into good fibers, good materials, good labor accommodation, but they don't have a good fit. They don't fit to different bodies. They, cater to like a certain demographic of, skinny regulated bodies people. They may even create sometimes like a very small plus size range, which is sometimes also doesn't cover people who are too big or plus size, but they have other different bodies, or people like me who are short, but I can technically could benefit from a plus size cut because that would fit my body probably better. Also, it's hard to find things because we have to understand, okay, there are some people for whom clothes is purely functional. For example, my spouse, he has his understanding what he would or would not wear. He's very particular. But for him, clothes is functional. He can wear blue shorts and blue t-shirt, and it, drives me nuts because for me, it's like, oh my God, that looks horrible. That's color combination drives me nuts. Not because I am such a fancy girl, but it's just disturbing, hurtful color combination. And for him, it's like, it's a clean shirt, it's a clean shorts. Why not? So I guess for him, it's not an issue. He's more worried about longevity, good cut, decent material. But for me, because I have more things going on in my head, I have a hard time finding things. And this is my next pet peeve. Sometimes I find certain items that I like how they're done. And it's like basic item, like a basic tee, basic sweatshirt, basic pants. So I would usually buy them and I would enjoy the cut. I would enjoy the price. I would all the things like finally meet together. And when I wear these pants for a little bit, at some point, like a year or 2 later, I need to buy another pants. And they don't make it anymore. They make another pair of pants. And now again, I'm on this journey trying. Things don't fit me. So all these changes annoy the crap out of me because if we are truly talking about sustainable fashion, not only we want to have sustainable materials, not only obviously we want to take care of our garment workers, but we want to stick to less items. Because if we create new items all the time, it's not only spikes people to buy, which everyone talks about, but nobody talks about the fact that if I found a perfect cut of pants or a perfect cut of sweatshirt, I just want to rebuy it again. Just please keep the same cut, just maybe use different material, maybe use different colors. So if I buy it like a couple of years later, maybe it's more trendy color, but don't change the cut. At the same time, I understand people want a freaking fashion trend, so they want the cut to be changed. But at least can we have, basic collection that doesn't change, and then maybe, let's say like 60-80% of collection is stable, or at least, some percent of the collection is stable, and then you add some, maybe 20% of pieces there, like more catering to the fashion. Can we please do like this? This would be really really sustainable, not you claiming to be sustainable but then creating new stuff all the time, so I have hard time finding things. And then there is greenwashing. I already mentioned it a little bit, but can we please talk about all these brands who are very, they claim to be good, but then they're not very good. Okay, the next topic is a low quality of materials. Long ago, I learned that if I have a choice, I should always choose natural fibers over synthetic fibers, because obviously synthetic fibers are created by oil production. They have longer, so if you send them to the landfill, they will take a longer time to decompose. So natural fibers are better this way. But now, when I actually, a couple of years ago, I went really deep into garment construction, so how clothes is made, what materials make what difference. So now I'm actually looking very differently on things, and I understand that actually for certain particular type of clothes, you want to have a certain amount of synthetic content. For example, for knitting, I used to be a yarn snob. I'm only knitting with 100% wool, 100% natural cotton and stuff like this. But now I understand if you're making certain things, for example, if I'm gonna make, pants, knitted pants, I have to have synthetic fibers in there, because those pants gonna get crappy really fast if they don't have synthetic. Also, if I gonna wash this short a lot, for it to dry quicker, for it to get more wear, I probably should have some synthetic content. Maybe yes, maybe not. When you just go into sustainability, you see things as black and white. You're like, oh, this is bad, this is good. Oh, I should never choose that. But the more you research, and my sustainability journey is now probably almost 10 years, but probably slightly less, probably maybe 7. Probably 7 years. So, I'm long enough in this field to understand that things are not as black and white. I feel it's with every field, when people try new diets, when people become vegans, when people start doing a healthy lifestyle, when people start, and by healthy lifestyle, I mean they taking care of their sleeping routine, they're taking care about their information hygiene, they try to move more, they try to add more healthy foods to their diet. People get very black and whitish in the beginning because they're like, oh, this is bad, don't do it. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should change this. You should. But the more you do it, you understand that, first of all, for things to be long term, or becoming part of your lifestyle, they should be accessible, they should be budget friendly, they should be doable for you. Because if you spend too much effort on something, it's hard for you to have this thing to stick. For example, for me, in terms of sustainable clothes, there was a time of my life when I lost my income, and for the 6 months, I couldn't make any more income. And this loss of income was very sudden. It didn't depend on me. It literally happened overnight. And for the 6 months, I had to rely on some odd freelance jobs and my savings. I was actually glad that I had some savings at that time. Right now, I have zero savings because I'm still recovering from that period of time. Now I'm thankfully have day job. I guess you can call it a day job. I work for myself, but I have a everyday job that I work from Monday to Friday. But, during that period of time, I couldn't do any sustainable, expensive brands. I was like, okay, now we're shopping at Target. And then I actually discovered that Target has some brands that actually fit me good. And here I go into my, I didn't mention that. Okay, I'm going to mention it later. Now I go in my next stage of my journey. So when I was in this, less, less excitable financial situation, I understood that I still need to buy some clothes because I need to buy some clothes for work, but I wasn't making enough money to, buy very expensive brands. So I was changing my choices. Also, before I was working from home, and I realized when you work from home, you don't actually put so much wear in your clothes compared to when you actually go out. And my job became something where my clothes would get lots of tear and wear. I'm not going to describe what job I did, but I would get much more wear and tear. And I'm like, all these things I probably preached in my head about sustainability don't quite work for people who have completely different lifestyle. So this is how I learned that sometimes your lifestyle is more favorable towards you doing sustainable things because, you buy this one expensive item, but it doesn't get too much wear. So it can actually last you longer. But sometimes it's difficult. When I was in that era of my life, I started shopping at Target. I tried different brands. I unfortunately had to buy things in wherever I could afford them. And then I realized that actually some of the mass market brands, I don't know, should I name them or should not? Actually, no, I'm not going to name any brands because I'm not supporting those brands. I don't want you to go buy things there, or should I? I don't know. Anyway, if you're really interested, you can ask me in the comments. I will just answer. So there was this couple of, fast fashion brands, like we can call mass market brands, that are actually catering to my body. And I'm like, wait, all this time I was chasing sustainable brands that give no shit about how my body looks like. But then there are these cheapish brands. I mean, mostly make not very high quality clothes. But if you look through the whole collection and you look precisely, and I used to read like labels, what is made from, I would look at the stitches. How is it? How tight is the stitch? Is it high quality or bad quality? So you can still find some items that are actually decent quality. So my idea was like, yeah, maybe I'm not supporting sustainable brands, but at least I'm buying something that will fit my wardrobe and I'm going to keep it longer. And all these items I bought 2-3 years ago, I still wear them. So what I realized that some of these brands, for example, when you shop online, they have, different length of pants. They have short, regular, long. So if I buy short pants, finally, the pants fit me. Then some of these pants would have like a regular and curvy, like style. So the curvy style would fit me. Finally, it would fit my bum. It would fit my hips. I'm like, thanks God. And for a couple of years, I was only like buying clothes in those type of brands. And I'm like, wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Now I'm really torn, because I do want to support sustainable fashion, but I don't know many sustainable fashion brands that can, cater to all my complicated needs. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just a very complicated person and everyone else is just like, oh my God, you're so just complicated. I don't know. So that was like a short era of my life. But then there was another part of it, because some of those brands that actually fitted well my body, some of the items didn't last long. Also, I used to shop in outlets because I'm thinking like, okay, at least it is like semi-sustainable because, they didn't sell those items. They, send it to outlets. So at least I'm buying something that would be otherwise destroyed. But then I learned that actually some brands produce things for the outlet. So it's not something that's overstock. It's not something that they didn't sell out. They actually specifically produce things because they know that people like me, for example, who only shop in outlets would not go in a normal store. They're like, oh, wait a minute, we're just gonna produce some cheap clothes for those people, for those cheap ladies like Stella. So at that point I stopped shopping at Ross and Marshalls, because I realized like, oh, wait a minute, you guys seriously produce clothes for those stores? I was thinking I'm being sustainable, I'm buying overstock. It was really upsetting. So there was lots of things going on. So I think this is addition to my journey. It's like my recent era when I started like knitting, when I started sewing, I started learning how the items are made. I started learning the garment construction, different types of stitches, different types of, fitting, how clothes supposed to fit you. Because I was slowly getting into the fact that if I want something to look cute, to look, to have a certain style, to fit my body, to have certain fiber content, to be made responsibly, I have to probably make it myself. And I think most people have like the bodies that don't fit standard too. And by saying standard, I don't mean the size. It's more like sometimes somebody can be like, I know people who are an extra large, but they have no problem finding things because everything just fits them. But if you have something like, oh, your shoulders are narrow, but the hips are wide, or you have like a belly, or you have like a maybe bulkier arms and more like a athletic or just heavier neck, back, then you have like hard time fitting t-shirts because they're like too tight on you. There is this misconception that brands should do all sizes. They should be super all-inclusive. This is not realistic, and maybe one day I address it. I mean, every company that produces something, and only people who never produced anything will not understand that. When you produce something, you need to have some reference sizing. You can't have 100 sizes. It's just impossible. Unless you're producing only one item. Let's say you're only doing t-shirts, then you can have these t-shirts in 100 sizes, fitting all types of people: short, tall, fat, skinny, long-necked, short-necked, thick-necked, whatnot. But if you are having a range of clothes, it's impossible for you to cater to each sizes. Ideally, we just should have more brands catering to different body types versus expecting one brand. Obviously, brands like H&M, they could easily do like that instead of creating so many trendy, cheaply made items. They should actually do inclusivity because they have enormous amount of items produced. But if we talk about small sustainable brands, it's infeasible, impossible for them. I don't care about every brand catering about my body, but I just want to have more brands representing people looking like me, or other brands representing looking like, for example, I have a friend who's very tall and she has a hard time buying things because everything is too short. So if she buys a sweater, it will only reach here. If she would buy pants, they would be always short. And then she has a very a large size of her shoes. So she has a hard time finding girly shoes because they don't make it in her size, which is also ridiculous, especially now when we have so many non-binary, gender fluid, transgender people. Like, we should have sizes. Again, it's impossible maybe for one brand to have all the sizes, but maybe we either should create more unisex clothes that's another topic, unisex clothes. That pisses me off. Unisex, yeah, that's another topic I can jump on. So let's go back a little bit. So I was talking about garment construction. So the more I learned about garment construction, the more I understood that lots of things are poorly made. And recently I started watching this channel. I will actually link it down below because I really like it. I forgot the name. Yeah, I don't remember the name. It's a guy who talks about, I think he's in Canada. Yeah, he's in Canada. It's amazing channel. I like, for people who like to geek out about garment construction, go there. I just watched all the videos. So they actually show how the clothes are made. Because he's in the garment construction industry, so he gives you an approximate estimate how much things cost. He explains like, oh, why this is cheaply made versus like why this is like more expensively made. And the main idea I want to take, not the main idea, one of the big ideas that I took from his video, he takes real clothes from real brands and discusses them. There were so many examples of brands who are expensive, but he actually justifies the price. He said like, yeah, I can see why they charge so much because they really do a good construction. They use high quality materials. They, so the whole production process has so many steps, and usually the more steps you have, the more expensive it is to produce something, but they really take time to produce a high quality item. At the same time, there are so many other brands he discussed that are expensive brands. They are just made so poorly. So, and he always wonders like, hey, like for the price you charge, you can easily like just upgrade couple of more dollars, even like $5-10, and make considerably better clothes, but somebody just choose not to make such good clothes. There was actually a recent video. Again, I'm not good with names because those are the channels. So if I don't watch a channel on a regular basis, if on every day or every week basis watch the channel, I usually don't remember names, but I'm gonna link it down below. I think it's a channel I recently subscribed to, so I still haven't learned her name. It's a girl and she talks about lots of recent controversy in some influencers who used to be, they still probably are, I don't know those people. They're fashion influencers. I don't follow fashion influencers. And they started making their own clothes. And there is like now controversy that the clothes is being cheaply made. It's a very poor quality. It's like falling apart, stuff like this. And I'm actually not surprised, but at the same time, I'm kind of sad because it's very sad that if you're a fashion influencer, you should be interested not only in the fashion part of it, but also maybe in promoting quality clothes, promoting something that can be long lasting. But I guess that's the problem with our society, that we just don't care. We just want to change things every day. People like, oh, why would they not care about quality, or why would they make cheaply made stuff? Because they just outsourced. Because you have to understand, if you're an influencer, you're not I forgot the word, clothes designer. How you call it? People who design clothes. Yeah, so people like me, for example, I am an amateur sewist knitwear designer for myself. I actually did design some knitwear, and I think I will make a video about all the knitwear that I made in the last couple of years. And there are some sweaters that I designed myself. I did all the garment construction, all the measurements, all the fitting. Okay, doesn't matter. It's not the topic of this video. And of course, when I was making those clothes, I was really cognizant about I want to make it really good. I want to make it high quality. I had to unravel and undo things and redo it multiple times because I want this clothes to look the way I want it to look, so I can wear it for a long time. But if you're a fashion influencer, you're just there to make money. So if some brands approached you and said hey, we're gonna just make clothes for you, you're just gonna outsource it to us, and these girls don't care. They probably don't even wear their own brands, and it's sad. People used to make clothes because because they used to like making clothes, and now people do it just because they can. The same how influencers write books, not because they like writing books, but because a ghostwriter contacted them, and it sucks. Anyway, yeah, so this is my another big thing when I buy items that are expensive or from some sustainable brands, but they're made very poorly, and I know they're gonna fall apart, they're gonna like start peeling, or start like the stitches starting unravel, or this thing will be deformed. And I have lots of beef with that, especially when I started making clothes, and I understand you can't actually do it better. You can make an effort to choose the right fabric for it. You can make an effort to choose the right stitch for it, or make this, reinforce the stitch and stuff like that. And it annoys the crap out of me that those brands don't do it. I think another pet peeve of mine is lack of natural fibers. I mentioned before that it's not always you need a natural fiber, but to be honest, if you switch from wearing synthetic to wearing natural fibers, by natural fibers I mean like cotton, linen, rayon, tencel, lyocell, wool, I don't know, and other things. If you make this switch, you're gonna feel much more comfortable in these clothes most of the time. Not always. Like, for example, for sports, you probably are still better in some tight-fitting polyester clothes. But even those clothes, they can be poorly made. That's not gonna do their job, or they can be made in a very, advanced technological garment factory where they understand what they're doing with them. But when you switch from synthetic to natural fibers, you're gonna, add so much comfort to your life. For example, me personally, I used to be always sweaty. I used to be itchy. I used to get static electricity. I would touch some metal things and I would get like spiked. I don't know. I would get like, and when I started wearing natural clothes, I realized like, wow, I'm not as sweaty as before. Wow. Like I get no static electricity anymore. That's why I hate synthetic fleece. Like for me, synthetic fleece is the worst. I just get so much static electricity. I don't know. Some people don't get so much static. I get a lot of it. And it's just completely different story. So now when I buy something, I get obsessed because I read all the labels. And most of the time, it's hard if you want to find 100% cotton sweatshirts. You're probably not going to find it. Like this one I bought, and I don't think it's 100. Yeah, this one is 70% cotton, 30% recycled polyester. We don't even know if it's recycled polyester. Unfortunately, sometimes I still do a little bit of polyester because sometimes it's just hard to find. But that's why I actually want to make my own clothes, because I want to buy 100% fibers. And again, it's not about being a snob. It's just dramatically changing the quality of things you wear, especially if you are, if you don't feel uncomfortable in your current clothes, then don't bother. But if you feel like, oh my God, like I'm sweaty, I'm all like, all this, like, yeah, you're better off. Especially like, for example, if we're talking about warm clothes, if you wear something made out of wool, even if it's something like a thin merino base layer shirt, it will be less stinky because polyester traps lots of stinkiness in it and stuff like that. Sometimes it may think that it's more expensive, but I think if you do obsessive amount of research, sometimes it's not more expensive. Like when I go to some like outlets and I look through the labels, I feel like many brands don't really make much difference. Sometimes it is a difference, like wool coat versus polyester coat. But then it's another thing. If you buy a wool coat, that thing gonna last you forever. If you buy polyester coat, that's not gonna last you forever. The same if you buy or need a wool sweater, you literally gonna have it for the rest of your life if you take care of it, like hand wash and stuff like this. But if you buy acrylic sweater, it's gonna start peeling, and if you wash it in a hot water, it's gonna get really gunky real quick. I mean, you can still fuck up a cashmere sweater if you don't wash it properly, but if you learn how to wash and take care, it's not that difficult, because natural wool, you don't even need to wash that often. I understand in some countries like America, people are obsessed with washing things every day, and this is a little bit too much. But again, if you realize that you don't need to wash things every day, especially things like jeans or, I don't know, like wool sweaters and stuff like that. Yeah, so natural fibers, that's a thing. Actually, that's one of the things that sometimes annoys me when thrifting, because you don't always, if people cut off the label, so you can't see what's the content, and I usually don't buy things unless I understand the content, because I have other considerations that I just mentioned before. Okay, let's try to summarize this long-ass video. So where I'm now at my journey where I'm transitioning from buying things into completely making them. I actually stopped buying sweaters because for the last 4 years I started knitting a lot, so I don't buy any knitwear. But it was always a dream of mine to also go into sewing, because I have hard time finding pants. For example, I can probably buy shirts, especially I usually like some some funky colors, which I can easily find in some thrift stores. I do, and I don't have trouble finding, actually I do have a little bit of trouble finding like hoodies and stuff like this, because I like things oversized. I like things particular colors. For example, I don't like colors black, gray, white, and navy. I hate those colors. I also don't like dark muted colors. For example, if something is like dark muted or light muted, I hate those colors. I need things to be bright, like everything I have needs to be bright. Like this is my recent obsession, I think, the green the green color. All you need to know about me, look at even my page is pink. It's actually more pink than you can see. Yeah, so I'm a little bit obsessed with bright colors in the last couple of years. I always wanted to sew things, and I tried sewing a couple of years ago, but everything looked so... first of all, it took me too long. It was hard for me, everything looked very crooked. I was like, okay, this is worse than those cheap items I bought from, I don't know, Target or other stores. I'm giving a second chance to my sewing. I actually finally found a place where I can learn how to sew and make things easily and things that are fitting me. So I'm going away from patterns when I just copy somebody's pattern, because the thing I realized that if I buy a pattern and I cut my own fabric and make my own clothes, I still end up with the same problem as buying things in the store. Those things are still not fitting me, because whoever created that pattern either fitting those clothes for themselves, and unless they look like me, and not many people are 5 feet with wide hips, or they just use standard sizing that, again, like in a store, doesn't fit me. But now I finally found a place where I can learn how to make clothes, where I actually, that's why I'm into garment construction, that can actually fit constructed for my particular measurements. So this is my new things for 2025. And I think my goal is by the end of 2025 to stop buying clothes completely. I'm not planning to buy much stuff anyways, unless I need like something urgently, something that I don't have, or something that I can't make. If I need to buy a jacket, I don't think I will be sewing a jacket, because I'm just not there yet. But something like pants, pajamas, t-shirts, sweatshirts, I'm planning to completely make them. Another thing that I actually didn't cover in my previous points, I started getting very annoyed by brands. Doesn't matter if it's sustainable, small business, that when I go to their website and they show me their clothes fitted on the models, or just skinny people in general, it just annoys the fuck out of me, because I'm like, can we please see normal people wearing your clothes? Of course, if you have a model, somebody who's tall, very skinny, anything gonna look on them. Anything gonna look on those people, because everything gonna just nicely drape down. And there are some brands who started doing this. Here is the model, and here's the plus size. And you can always see how it looks nicely on the model, and then the plus size, everything is more tight-fitting, because obviously they didn't really consider that body very well. But if somebody has large chest, heavy biceps, wide hips like me, or have kink ankles or something like this, I want to see how those pants gonna look on those people. I want to see how clothes looks on those people. And I'm like, okay, what if I'm not extremely plus size? What if I'm not super skinny? Can I see people like me? Or at least, can you show me 5 people who are different, who have different body shapes? Just show me normal people. There are some brands who do it. Brand that I discovered, I don't know, maybe like 5-6 years ago. And I'm still, unfortunately, I don't buy much from them because they are in UK. So the shipping is a hassle every time. I placed 6 or 7 orders within those 5 years with them. This brand actually has good fitting. They have unisex clothes. They actually have actual people in advertising. So they are one of those brands that I actually very loyal. While many other sustainable brands that I used to like, I don't like them anymore. Yeah. So now I'm all over the place in terms. So I would say I probably gave up on supporting sustainable brands for many reasons I mentioned. Because if this brand shows me models, I'm like, okay, you don't care about people like me. I'm not going to support you unless you show me real people in your advertising, people of different ages, like all that jazz. If you're using, like if you're sustainable, but you're using like polyester and other stuff, like thank you, I'm not going to pay $100 for your polyester crap. If you're using like items that don't last long, I'm sorry, I don't know how you're sustainable. Yeah, you're using sustainable fabrics, but you can't create a long-lasting garment. Seriously, bye-bye. Also, if you, like, there are a couple of brands that were extremely expensive. I bought things from them, but I had to return them because nothing fit me. I don't know what kind of people they're making those items, but everything was extremely long and extremely narrow everywhere, which I assume they make it for models. So I'm like, okay, I can't support that as well, because you're not making clothes for me. So I'm not gonna overpay just because you're sustainable, but things just don't fit well. Or if I have to alter it, I'm not paying something a lot when I have to alter it myself. As of today, my goal is to get natural fibers. If I purchase something expensive, it has to be long lasting. And even if it's not super sustainable brand, I mean, I will obviously try to find something that's somewhat sustainable or somewhat good. I'm still not supporting things like H&M or other items. I would not buy there. I never bought from things like Shein. Never ever. Or things like the other brands like Fashion Nova or something. Never ever I bought from them. And I haven't bought from H&M or Mango or Zara, like those. I think I haven't bought anything from them in 5 years, unless I found something thrifted, but not from the store itself. I tried to find something less problematic, but at the same time, my priorities are price. I don't want to pay too much. I just can't afford it at this point. I better make something myself. I need natural fibers. I need good stitching. If I see crappy stitching, I'm not going to buy it. If it doesn't have a good fit, if the brand is not inclusive and whatnot, I'm not going there. So my idea of this video, of my rambly rant, is that, dear sustainable brands, you have to do better. You have to do better in many things. Not only you should brainwash and greenwash us about how nicely you recycle something, but it has to be truly recycled. And if you just recycle it for sake of recycled, please not. Just have a regular fabric. Just make sure the item is long lasting. Stop consistently changing your collections. Keep certain, at least 80% of the items the same. So if I liked something, I can just repurchase it in the same color. Actually, there is a good brand. They actually have very good pants and they lasted me a while. And when I went back to their website, I think those pants are almost like 5 years, the ones I have. I still have them, but I outgrew them a little. So they're a little bit tight for me. So I was thinking to buy another pair of pants from them. And I went back and they still have the same design. They added a few more designs, but they still keep the same design. They just changed color. So this is what truly sustainable brands should do. You know why? Because if they keep the same design, they have time to perfect this design. So of course, when they do the first launch, they might find like, oh, let's upgrade this part. Oh, let's us improve this part. Oh, like people complained about that. Oh, maybe we can offer this. Oh, maybe we can choose a better fabric. Oh, maybe we can choose different, like, I don't know, like zippers or whatnot. So if you keep the same item, like the same design in your lineup, you have a chance to improve it over years. But if you change every year, if you do too many collections, of course, you're not going to spend time into designing anything. Or actually oh my God, okay. My camera has only 2% of battery, my last beef with most brands. And this probably requires a separate video on its own. I don't like anymore looking in those S, M, XL, M, blah, blah, blah. Because right now, more people wear oversized fit. So look at me. I'm wearing an oversized clothes. So let's see, what size is this one? This is actually Target. This is large. I'm a person who would normally wear size small, but I don't like size small. And this is not as big. So can we please stop doing those small, medium, large? Or you know what's another funny thing? I remember I bought 2 sweaters and both of them were extra large, but they looked differently. And I'm like, why we have 2 extra large sweaters? And then it turns out one is regular extra large and another was plus size extra large. So I returned the plus size extra large because it was too big for me. And then I ordered the regular extra large and it was much smaller, so it would be better fitting. I'm like, what the heck? How people are supposed to, navigate in this? So in terms of production, yeah, there is a slightly different way how you grade those sizes, but can we just call them something else? So what I actually want the brands to, can you just tell me how wide is this sweater? How long is this item? How wide are the shoulders? How wide is the neck opening? So I can just take my measure tape, measure it, and say like, hey, this sweater is 60 centimeters, which is like, I don't know, something in inches. I'm like, okay, I like the 60 centimeters. That fits my objective for this sweater. Or like, oh no, maybe today I want something that is like 45 centimeters. Like it's like tight fitting. Especially sometimes you look at the size chart. It actually happened to me a lot. I would look at size chart, I would order something, and then it has nothing to do with reality. I had my favorite, like a sportswear, like sustainable brand, but I don't like it anymore because the clothes just fitting is horrible. I'm constantly have to pull the pants out because they just don't have a good construction, no matter what size I buy. The sizes are off. Like sometimes I would order something size M and it's extremely tight, while I'm actually size S upstairs because I have narrow shoulders and narrow chest. I would order size M and it would be so tight on me, I can barely breathe. And I'm like, okay, if somebody's who is bigger than me would wear this, I don't know how they can even exist in that item. So the sizing was off, so I was like, okay, I don't like this brand anymore. And the reason it happens because they produce different items in different factories, and different factories probably like kind of used slightly different size charts, so it's not matching. It's within one brand, but it has completely different size charts. So we have to stop doing this. We need the brands need to actually tell you the actual garment size, so you can actually educate yourself how much you need in terms of width and length. I mean, they can still use small, medium and stuff like that. Maybe some people still like to use that, but we also need the information about the actual garment size. You know what? I'm gonna finish my video here because my battery is about to die right now. If you like my rambly topics, if you're interested in knitting and sewing and, you know, making your own clothes, garment construction, I have so much knowledge about how to make your own garment. Let's say if you're a beginner knitter or sewist and you want to learn more, I'm gonna share lots of this knowledge on this channel because sometimes I just feel a need to share what's on my mind. So if you like it, see you in my next video. I'm probably gonna talk about all the items I needed for myself and the items I'm very proud and I wear on a daily basis.
Sunlight, love hearts, taste sweet like cherry tarts. Great boxes filled with seeds.